I'll call the meeting to order. All rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This is our April 12th regular meeting. First thing we have is public comment. Is there any public comment today? Not seeing any. Did you both have a chance to read the minutes from last week?
I moved to approve as presented.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Commissioner comments and committee reports. Jack, do you have anything?
No, other than pray for those poor citizens of Ukraine.
Absolutely. Casey, do you have anything?
I don't have anything other than I've been contacted to see if we would be willing to record our workshops, and I was curious what your thoughts are on that.
I probably wouldn't be in favor of that. I knew the effect of having the camera on just in our regular meetings, that there's a certain amount of guardedness on employees that don't feel they can speak freely and be recorded in perpetuity. So, and I seen the chilling effect that the camera can kind of have on that. So even though it is a public meeting, people are welcome here. But I myself don't think that I would want it recorded because it has that chilling effect. So that's my thought.
Do you have any input?
I don't have any.
So you don't care either way, like yay or nay, or?
I'd
Doesn't
rather, I think it's something that the department heads, elected officials can tell us if that's what they want.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, I had a multi-county health board meeting last week. I have a K.S.A meeting coming up. I have it written down somewhere. I've lost the minutes. And I do, but I don't have the exact date. Sorry. That's all I have today. New business before the board. Jessica K.S.A, county concerns. Hi.
Hi, how are you guys?
Welcome.
Thank you.
I
Thank
don't
you
think
for
I've
having
mentioned
me.
before. I'm Jack Powell.
I'm Jessica K.S.A. Nice to meet you.
The
And
last name I well known.
yes, there are lots of K.S.A. So,
No,
Are you up towards Everest?
yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yes, so I
On
think,
the curve of the road?
yes, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, right between.
where the old oak tree used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
one,
yeah. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's where we live, and yeah, so yeah, well, thank you guys for having me. You made me feel less nervous already. I'm coming because I'm concerned about industrial wind turbines being built. And so I've been trying to find out if any county residents have been approached about that, because we have friends in Brown County that have been asked to sign leases, and there are some residents that have signed leases, and I think it's all part of Soldier Creek. And that, that wind farm up there kind of in Nemaha County, and I think it's like expanding into Marshall County. And so I'm not going to claim to be an expert on the wind industry at all by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm just kind of concerned about it. And so I've started to do some research, and I just printed off some articles for you guys about, just different things like taxes that, supposedly go to schools, and, just the effect it has on like local county governments. I don't think, there's nothing that our representatives in Washington are really going to do to regulate it very much. We've reached out to Senator Marshall a bit, and he just says it's just kind of up to every local, every local government, how they want to handle it. And then at the state level, there's been legislation introduced to, put setbacks in for, people that are non-participating. And that it's just been hard to have that get any traction as well. And so, so I was just wanting to approach you all and see, what we could do to protect non-participating landowners. Because right now, our neighbor across the road could put a 600-foot turbine on his land. And I think he has the right to do that. And I applaud that. I think property rights are wonderful. But that still affects us across the road. And so anyway, so that's what I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about today. So I have something written up, but I don't have to go through it all.
So I've been through multiple seminars.
Oh, okay.
And it's complicated.
Yes.
And I've also have a good friend who was on the Nemaha County Commission.
Oh, okay.
So I heard their horror stories.
Yes.
Family against family,
It's awful.
because people, they go get those leases signed without telling. They gave the kids 10 acres next to them. Then there was no offsets. And,
Right.
all of a sudden it was a
Yeah.
tough thing on the community.
It is, because I can see both sides of it.
Right. One of the things that's probably good about Atchison County, I guess the prevailing winds aren't as good as other areas,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean eventually they'll run out of other areas. I mean, Nemaha is just prime.
Yeah.
Prime,
And I think they have a moratorium on it now, and I think they've extended it. So I'm not sure if it expires or what all the status is on that, but
I was just
Anyway.
talking to a commissioner last night from Brown, and their initial study, I think they're doing a moratorium, which is 2 years. And then that study for, I can't remember the exact term, is 160,000 just to get your master plan, I believe is what he called it. Master
Okay.
plan.
is master plan another word for zoning or?
It's all the steps that need to be taken, including
Okay.
zoning. that-
Okay,
And.
so that can include.
Yeah,
zoning.
so,
Okay,
it's just setting the mark or, starting to get a plan or anything like that together is
Mhm.
pricey too, so.
yes.
And then in their case, I know that they've already got leases signed, so they're basically to the point, they can't hold them out, but it's just for regulating the ones that do come in.
Okay.
Another thing is that can be used or it can't be abused is when to build a wind farm there, they need access and have to have haul routes, et cetera, like that.
Mhm.
So that's something that can be negotiated with
Okay,
them to, if they are here, that we can have terms that maybe it's a negotiating point.
Yeah.
Dexterra,
Mhm.
bring the lines through would be an example.
Right, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
One of the things that I also learned is just because you put up zoning regulations against wind turbines,
Mhm.
if you did it only for that purpose,
Mhm.
they've lost the court.
They've lost the court.
They've lost the court.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yes.
so
Mhm.
we got to be careful if we do anything like that, that we're not, we're doing it for the best of the community.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to my husband, he farms, and so to him, zoning is kind of a dirty word.
No, I
so,
understand. the
Yeah,
word.
yeah, but like that being said, and he's not the only farmer that I've talked to that says this. I mean, it's kind of the lesser of two
But don't build a
evils.
chicken factory next to my farm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't have
yeah.
it both ways.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. No, I
Yeah.
hear you. I hear you like that. So,
That was kind of a little bit of my questioning or curiosity too, is I know that people don't like these too close to their homes, but it seemed like there's almost a different standard with this than there was like when Tyson was talking about coming in. I didn't hear people about keep them out, but yet there was huge, there's hazards with that. There's the smell and there's the road problems and a
Right.
lot of this, and it's corporate. So a lot of the same things that were talked about with this, I didn't hear there. So what is there specifically that, you know, you're against? I mean, is it just the look? Is it the
Well,
sound?
it's
Or-
kind of all of it, I guess. I mean, it's the look. I mean, and I'm not even against, like, if you have thousands and thousands of acres and you want to put turbines like in the middle of it, you know, and it's yours, they're not bothering anybody, you know, it's just the issue myself and I think some other constituents might have is, you know, what if, you know, my neighbor just, you know, builds one, you know, less than a mile away or something like that. And so that's really my only concern about it is, you know, if you know, even though it's on their property, it's really affecting, it's affecting
It's a
our,
big,
yeah, it really is.
eagles fly with their head down,
Yes.
whammo.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
and I can speak from personal experience because I grew up in northeast rural Nebraska and in Antelope and Holt counties. And my family dairy farmed and stuff like that. And like in 2016, 2017, they started building turbines and now they are just everywhere.
In South Dakota. too, so-
Yeah. And so you can't even turn around without seeing one now. And I'm proud that my family, you know, hasn't put one up because, you know, they're everywhere else. And I think a lot of farmers have that mentality. If, you know, if I have to look at this one, I might as well have one
Make a few
too.
dollars.
Exactly. So I'm proud they didn't do that. So that is, you know,
Mhm.
anyway, that's my perspective. I mean, I think, yeah, just once they get in, it's just, I don't know, it's maybe like a domino effect. That's my fear anyway. Now, maybe it wouldn't play out that way, but that's my fear. So,
Well, also a question, and this is more, not just specific here, but it's surprising, you know, that we're all supposed to be moving away from fossil fuels into clean energy. And this is part of the clean energy movement.
yes.
So, I mean, how are we helping that along or by denying them, you know, places to move to? I mean, you know, there's going to be a part in the public or to play in the change. I mean, there will be changes that maybe people didn't think of when they're
Mhm.
thinking about, all renewable energy sources, but there's going to be some pain somewhere because you can't change your whole economy over without having either wind farms or solar farms or some maybe biodigestible type of, you know, where they can create new energy somehow.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, it's kind of a part of me is a little bit like, where do they go? I mean, how are they going to generate all this power if we put everything, all the vehicles over to electric cars? It's going to have to
Yeah.
be generated.
Well, I know it's a green, you know, it falls under that green energy category. I mean, when they're decommissioned, I think all they can do is bury them. I mean, they can't even cut them up because if you cut them, they have to just be dismantled in a certain way and they just put them in landfills because I think they're made mostly of
So it's
fiberglass.
The blades.
Paul Harvey
Yes.
said there's the rest of the story.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Mhm.
The question mark would be, what should the county commission be doing?
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's what you're asking.
Yes. Yeah, that is.
And
Mhm.
we might have a tendency to, oh, they're here, let's do something about it.
Mhm.
You know, so I guess we've got to decide, is a proactive thing first a good idea?
Mhm.
And
I would encourage you that it is, because they're not required by law to notify you all or anyone that they're around out and about signing leases. I mean, there's nothing requiring that at all, which is, I was disappointed. Mike Thompson had a bill at the state level that would have required some transparency, at least, you know, have them be upfront that that's what they're wanting to do. But that's not required right now. And then I did ask at the, oh my gosh, I came here last Friday and asked the appraiser's office, you know, if they had heard anything, and they said that any kind of development has to get like a flood permit or something of that nature. And so, but they said they didn't think that anything had in recent memory. But again, you know, if these guys are flying under the radar on all this stuff, you know, maybe they're, you know, not doing that.
You know Roger Denton, and talk to Roger Denton.
Roger, I
He's-
can.
He's our GSI
Okay,
person. He is very knowledgeable
okay.
on
And
all the
he's-
things you're bringing up.
Yeah.
He can give you a good,
Okay,
like a college course in about an hour.
okay,
So-
all right, all right. I'll have to check in with him.
Also, no one's approached us about haul routes or anything like that. Not that
Okay.
I know of, so.
I
Well,
just,
but,
oh, go
You
ahead.
know, back to Nextera, they were here with they were here with it before we really heard about it. I
Mhm.
mean, they were signing the deal, the
Oh,
deals
yes,
with the
they-
farmer
yeah.
before the county commissioner heard about it.
Yeah, and see, that's my fear, you know, by the time they approach you all, I think it's too late.
And I can't remember, Nextera is like a $10 billion company.
Mhm.
They've been through this before. This isn't their first rodeo.
Yeah.
They know how to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're gonna do it the way they could be the most successful.
Mhm.
And that's what we're up against. And I can't remember how many dollars Nemaha County spent on legal fees,
Yeah.
like north of $300,000.
Okay. Brown County, I'm not sure which commissioner you talked to, but they're considering getting a lawyer just to zone for wind. And so I think I don't know, they've had discussions back and forth with this lawyer. So I don't know. They're at least looking at just zoning for wind. So,
Right there's the guy. That's Roger.
oh, hello, how are
He
you?
must have been listening in.
I was listening, I just thought I'd show my face.
Okay.
Since I just volunteered you to be a consultant.
Well, thank you.
Do you have to pull a development permit for a wind turbine lease?
You have to pull a development permit for anything.
You should.
Even though that isn't.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm not an enforcement agent, but I am an issuing agent, and you know, by the standards, and I gave it to you, whether it's excavation, storage, or construction or installation of something new, all those things should have a development permit.
Okay.
Now, if they don't get one, and I just told someone this last week, I'm not an enforcement agent, I'm not coming out and looking, I'm not inspecting what's going on. But if someone comes in, and they come in and tell us what's going on, because everything that happens, there's somebody concerned about. And he said, so what happens if somebody comes in and tells them? And I say, well, what I will do is I'll write you a letter and I'll carbon copy the state. And then the state can take what action they need to take. But that's not in every case. That was in the case of floodplain,
Okay.
construction in the floodplain. I just said, we would ask you to move the structure and we would send it to the state. The state probably would, at that point, would jump in and say, yeah, get it out of there.
Okay.
So. I'll be happy.
Okay, so you haven't had anybody, you haven't heard anything or about
No one's
turbines?
applied.
Yeah, has anybody applied?
I don't have any applications for wind farm right now that I am aware of. What I will tell you is, obviously Nextera and a number of these who are coming through our county, and again, I can appreciate the fact that we want nothing. We'd love to have no rules at all until there are two aspects of the rules.
Mhm.
One is the restriction aspect, the other is the protective aspect.
Yes.
And nobody wants them as long as they're restrictive. Everybody wants them when they're protected. And so from a standpoint, a few years ago, we had no protections at all. Well, we found that every oversized structure and every overweight structure came through our county because we had no rules. And so they could just come through here, tear everything up, make us pay the bill and get nothing. So we enacted some rules to try and stop that from occurring.
Mhm.
And we continually move on with these sort of things. We have an
Mhm.
oversized, overweight load carrying thing. Well, That oversized overweight load situation got us notified by Nextera when theirs was going on, because had we not had that, they could have literally brought all of that equipment across our roads without ever seeking our permission.
Yeah,
And by having that, they had to get an oversized load permit, and that oversized load permit then kicked off a whole lot of other regulatory things that were protective toward us.
yes, okay,
And the commission then actually had them pay for an
Mhm.
engineering firm to watch what they did to our roads.
okay,
You're all familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
And so these all come about by having something to protect yourself with.
Mhm.
But I understand both sides of the issue.
Yeah, no, I do too, so, thank you for.
But I
yeah.
don't have one on my desk right now
Okay,
that I'm working with, but do we hear? Yeah, we hear about things all the time. We just don't know which ones are real and which ones aren't until they actually come through.
okay. All right, well, thank you for. Yeah,
And again, we have heard that they're out buying some easements right now. Well, they buy easements until they get enough easements to get through, but they don't want to make those well known until
exactly, yes.
everyone wants to be the last one to sell them an easement.
Yes. I can understand that. So,
Okay.
all right.
well.
Well, I mean, I guess I just kind of would like to know your feeling on it. And I mean, is it, I don't know, is that industry something you're considering? I don't know, maybe that's too personal of a question. And maybe you don't want to say, you probably don't want to say that.
We want to do the
So-
right thing for the citizens of Atchison County.
Okay.
Now, what that looks like.
Mhm.
It's individual.
Well, yeah, that's
It's
a-
individualized
yes.
for all three of
Mhm.
us.
Yeah,
like,
that's.
Yeah.
subjective.
And I appreciate everything you've done to communicate with me and help educate me. And when Michelle and I came to your meeting the other evening, it
Mhm.
was very eye-opening to listen to, that feedback from experts that have done the research. I am standing in the fact of, I see it. I see it coming. I see it coming from this discussion of wind farms, from sanitation codes, from all different directions of, we need to start understanding what a comprehensive plan looks like. And that is the first step of zoning. And I know people don't like that word, and I know it throws up red flags, but I would rather provide the information and the education so that everyone can feel comfortable. Everyone, like,
Yeah.
and be mindful of all constituents and what that looks like. And so I know that you're going to be a speaker and a guest at my District 3 get together on May 19th. And I very much appreciate that, because this conversation, I mean, there's a gentleman going to talk about the sanitation codes that are being, discussed behind the scenes. And it's one of those things, it's like, the more information I can put out to the public to understand the reasoning behind things, it's less scary.
Yeah.
It's less,
Mhm.
putting up the blocks of, well, I don't want you to tell me what to do on my land, but when it comes to protecting your land, like, what are
Yes.
your property rights? How do we
Mhm.
protect them? Because people are very interested in knowing that.
Yes.
So educating is a top priority for me in the time that I sit here on the
Okay.
commission, because many of these things might not even be here or happening when I'm here, but if I can educate people while I'm here,
Yes.
that's all
Yeah.
that's
Well,
where I
well,
stand.
Yes, well, and I appreciate the education aspect of it, because I didn't have an opinion about a year ago, one way or the other, until my friends in Brown County started looking into it. And then they were like, did you know this? And did you know that? And,
That just triggered my mind. So since I've put out that I want to educate people, after church on Sunday, I had a few different people, like, people are paying attention and people are talking. There are people from Republic County that have family there that are having these same things. It's not a zoned county. They're signing leases. It's happening, and now people are paying attention. So I'm like,
yeah,
rather than being reactive, if we can
exactly.
be proactive and have the
Yes.
discussions. And then
Uh-huh.
also an older gentleman had shared that he's been approached by several companies that want you to sign leases on various issues that sound good.
Yes.
But when he reads the fine lines, he gets
Mhm.
nervous. And like, those are the people we need to, we need to protect everybody
Yes.
and
Mhm.
understand the thought processes behind it. So that's
Yes.
that's where
Yes.
I'm at as far as educating and providing information. And
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm sure you guys have read that story over and over about county commissions and dealing with wind companies and, I just read so many articles where, I mean, communities are torn apart and, the lawyers come in and they're threatening, and I just think it'd be really wise to get out in front of it and not being naive that that it won't come. I mean, maybe it won't, maybe this isn't a great place for turbines, but
Some people may look at an opportunity to make some money.
that, and I
you can't lose
understand that.
track of it.
And I
And it
understand
give
that.
us the opportunity to get a tax base.
Yes, but again, I think they make it, I don't know, I don't want to demonize anybody, but I think there's a lot of fine print that, we just need to really do our research and, I don't know, just talk to other counties that have dealt with them and, but again, I can see both sides of the issue. But farmers that I've talked to, I mean, if they had to pick or choose, some zoning for wind, even though they don't like zoning, I think they would choose that over having a turbine on their neighbor's property.
Right.
So,
Well, thanks for, I know it's not easy to come. sit
no,
here, so we
well,
really
I was,
appreciate you
well,
doing it.
yeah, I had a whole
And,
thing written, but it was
no,
nice to just sit and
Well,
talk with you
just
guys.
to talk, I mean, we're really open to trying to do some things. The thing is, the challenge is what's right and how do we, what's the move? And I think citizen groups, starting off at the kitchen,
Mhm, mhm.
are the ones that are going to drive things faster than we can.
Yeah.
We'll, on the other side, we have everybody's back. So
Mhm. Well, I appreciate you guys, and I think I'm speaking for a lot more than, I'm speaking for a lot of rural residents. When we say, we just don't want one, right next door, because there's health risks, and I don't know if you guys have researched any of that or.
I've read quite a bit.
Okay, so you all.
But some of
Probably
those, I've read the studies.
Mhm.
It just depends on who's paying for it.
Oh, I'm so glad you said
Yeah,
that, because yes, I was reading a book and the gentleman was saying, there are no studies because they're not fun, of the risks, because they're just not going to get the funding,
Right.
because, these multi-billion-dollar companies, they've got the money to fund these studies and make them sound the way they want them to sound. And it's,
Welcome to the world.
I know, it's so cynical.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
Well,
I'll
thank
read your
you.
Material
Okay.
and we'll get back to you.
Okay, and there'll be a discussion on the 19th.
Just for my
Just for
district.
your district.
Yeah.
Are any of you, would you guys ever consider something like that as well, or
Well, my district's entirely inside the city. of
if you're
Atchison.
inside
So
the city,
I
you
don't
probably
think
wouldn't.
that, it would be in my, if I just do it in my constituents, I don't. There's
It's
probably
already
people show,
zoned.
what?
It's already zoned.
Yeah, it's already zoned.
So is there a setback from the city for
Oh, yeah.
wind?
They have within their rules, they have already enacted floodplain and wind turbine data within the city of Atchison's regulations.
And the 3
Okay.
mile,
Yeah, they have,
You have a 3-mile setback from the city of Atchison?
no, we have the extraterritorial jurisdiction is just on subdivision.
Okay.
It is not on zoning. They passed that and then the public overwhelmingly said they did not want that. So they got rid of it. But within the city of Atchison, there are rules on setbacks, how far a tower must be from everyone else,
Okay.
and what the process is to go through to try and get an acceptable
Mm.
route
Mhm.
and easements and all of those things. So
Okay.
the city has enacted some stuff on it already.
Okay,
Well, I know,
And that's why Jack was saying he's in the city, his district is already zoned.
okay, yeah, so,
I know that there, just last night I read or saw on television that Shawnee County, there is a cell tower going up in, it's like 21st and Urish. And the public didn't like it because they thought it was unsightly and
Mhm.
health risk and everything, but it passed 3-0. I mean, there's a certain amount of infrastructure that's kind of has to be put in, even though
mhm,
it's, and these power lines that went through have a lot of the same risks as what the generation windmills have. There's static electricity and, things like that that's
Mhm.
associated with them. And then the substations, there's all kinds of risks with them, but we didn't have any pushback on those lines.
Well, but they don't blink at night and they're not, I think they're a little different. They don't rotate and make
Yes,
whoosh
sir.
sounds and,
You drive towards Cameron at 4 in the morning, it looks like you're at an airport.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I would think, I just think the huge turbines are a lot more challenging to dismantle, down the road rather than the power lines, but, I just think they're big rotating skyscraper type things, and I think, yeah.
All right.
I
Thank very
appreciate you
much.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Have a good afternoon.
Oh, wait a minute, wait, Mike, I'm sorry. I skipped over Kim for it. Sorry. Kim, are you on? So there's a PO for joint communications in the amount of $16,440, which is the yearly maintenance fees on all the radios. It is a budgeted item. The price hasn't changed from a year ago, so this is.
I move to approve.
It's been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Sorry, Kim. Now, I turned my page too quick. Okay, this is on, there was a bid letting for, there was a Monroe 12-foot snow blade, which was surplus property, and we put it out for bid, see if there's any interest, and we got one.
One bid from West Lanner for $50. And like Joe said this morning, we talked to Martin this morning, and for scrap, that's about what we would expect to get out of it, is 50 or 60. And I guess
This
this
is
way.
what later county.
Mhm. This way we
Any
wouldn't have to
thoughts?
haul it. We're fine with it if you are.
I'm fine with it. Do you want me to make a
You
motion
make a
to
motion
accept
to-
the bid? It's $50.
I'll second it. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Michelle Phillips. You get that? Did you get
I'll give it to you. The Kansas Association of Counties had sent a letter in regards to a special vote that they were holding. This is actually the second attempt. The first attempt they had, it did not receive the minimum amount of votes that they needed. There's only one question on the vote, and it's basically, shall the Kansas County Human Resources Association be admitted to the Kansas Association of Counties as an affiliate member consistent with Article 4 or 5 of the Kansas Association of Counties bylaws as amended October 19th, 2021. I received it basically, I think, because I was the voting delegate. So if you guys want to direct me to let me know how
I'd
you
have moved
prefer.
We allow our voting delegate to vote in the positive.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. So I'll let you handle
You just
that.
put it in the folder.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next I've got an addition of the Atchison County Extension.
So I wanted to visit with you guys and see how you feel.
Is that a new thing on the agenda?
It was
Yes.
added.
Okay.
Yes, so last year, we cut the extension budget and gave them, they had a list of things to work on. One being a new location or cleaning the location that they have. In the midst of that, we never had a formal vote. We've had discussion, but never talked about it. Are we willing to provide a dumpster outside of there for them to utilize to clean out their office?
What would that cost be?
So two things is one, would we provide the dumpster? And then second, they would be responsible for dump fees. Or how to
So
handle
we
that.
own a dumpster.
Yes,
We own a dumpster.
we have roll-offs, yes. That for the satellite location, I believe.
So it'd just be a matter of taking our dumpster. to the-
Providing one, it wouldn't be renting one, it would be
Correct,
actually,
correct.
So we have a roll. Okay, it makes sense to me.
Okay, so I had talked to state, this has been months ago, because they've been in, not sure where they're going, not sure what they're doing. And when I had originally talked to Stacy, she said she can make that happen as long as it wasn't a Tuesday or a Friday, I believe. So I guess I just want from you guys to understand what you're good with. If we're good with giving a dumpster, if I can have Stacy and the chairman of the board, Mark, work together to figure out the details. One is if we're putting a dumpster.
I'm for letting them,
I'd make a motion that we allow the extension office to use our county-owned roll-off dumpster
For no
for
charge.
cleaning out their office.
Okay, I would second that.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. And then the second would be dump fees.
It's-
I think they can handle that.
Okay,
But
so
they could-
scale tickets verify and the extension would pay dump
Yeah.
fees. Okay,
I mean,
I agree. I just wanted to make sure.
I mean,
in
we're-
the open-
I think we should help what we can, but then I don't think that we're responsible for everything. So,
Okay.
We're gonna we have the expense of delivering the dumpster.
and picking it up and taking it in.
Okay. All right. I will notate that and communicate with Stacy and Mr. Yura.
Okay.
Just one more thing on that real quick is for volunteers, they have work days set up on beginning Saturday, April 23rd from 9 to 3, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And they'll be having those on Saturdays until May 21st. So if you want to stop out and help some weekend, I'm sure that they would very much appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep.
On to old and unfinished business, county council updates.
There's a suggestion of, I'd like to have an executive session to talk with you about it.
Okay. 15 minutes.
That should be enough, yes.
I move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 1:39 p.m. for consultation with an attorney for the public body, which would be deemed privileged in an attorney-client relationship as allowed by K.S.A. 75-4319B2, and that the purpose of the closed session is to protect confidentiality of this discussion, and the board come out of executive session in 15 minutes in the commission room basement of the courthouse. Those present will be the 3 commissioners and County Councilor Patrick Henderson.
Do I hear a second? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're now in executive session. Okay, we're back from executive session. Is there any more business? Public comment?
I might make a comment myself, but Mrs. Gigstad did a great job of coming here and presenting. And it obviously this could become an emotional issue. But I'm just wondering if the comment portion of the meeting would have been the more appropriate place for someone to appear for the public comment than during the business sector.
When she came in, I questioned myself where she should be put. My only concern was I knew she would probably have some documentation to present, and I didn't want her to have like a 3 or 5 minute time session.
Well,
wanted for.
please, I'm not, I mean,
Mhm,
I think she did a wonderful job.
mhm,
I just don't want to have 20 people lined up to
Right,
have a half-hour conversation.
right. Mhm,
And I think her discussion here today really helped us all.
mhm,
So I don't read me wrong on this at all. I
right.
just say what's appropriate for
I
public
did,
comment.
like I say, I did question it myself, but I had a feeling it was going to be more than that 3 or 5 minute time frame.
Okay.
So that's why I chose to put her in new business.
Okay.
Thinking that potentially too, that there may be something down the road that would be put into like an older business, if there's anything that came from it.
Okay.
So that's why I went there.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I moved to adjourn at 1:56 PM.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.